Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about high impact instructional strategies in physical education. And at the end of this, we'll take a closer look at a sample lesson from the Colorado Department of Education in regards to high impact instructional strategies. So the first question is, what is high impact instruction? Well, first, we need to check something else out first. Um, As far as what we're thinking about when we talk about high impact instruction, there's a focus on 21st century skills. Okay, and those are things you see listed here, like critical thinking and reasoning, creativity and innovation, civic engagement, information literacy, collaboration and communication, character and leadership, initiative and self-direction, social and cultural awareness, and information technology application. Lots of buzzwords, fancy words in there. But the idea is that as we push into the future, it's important for our students to be given the skills that they need to compete in this era that's heavily pushed by what technology is doing and how technology is integrated with our lives and how technology is connecting each of us to each other and businesses and different institutions. So it's important that our students be given those skills. So, when we look at how we can do that, when we develop, our curriculum, it's important to, look at those 21st century skills and try and develop, um, our different curriculum to match up to ideas that are challenging, to programs that build relationships, to programs that are relevant in today's world, that's quickly changing all the time, and also that foster physical education literacy, which is a big kind of thing that we have going on, where fitness more and more is an important aspect of everyone's lives, but there's a difference between being fit and working out and actually having a strong literacy when it comes to health and physical education, and understanding what it is that you need to do to give yourself the best life that you can have. So that brings us back to, what is high impact instruction? So what is it? It's a couple things. One is it creates a proper learning environment. When we create a proper learning environment, we want to give our students objectives that are clear, and also feedback that is clear and useful to them. We should be encouraging our students to do their best, but at the same time, recognizing the effort that they give, and working together to learn. And what does that mean? It means it's not a competition, right? We're all in this together. It's important that we, work together as a team and all learn and become better people. We should be looking to help students to understand the subject, proper cues and questions in class. Giving them the proper cues is going to help them to understand the unit that we're working on, and making sure that they are getting or developing the skills that they need to develop the physical literacy that we're expecting of them. And also asking the questions that we are hoping that would generate some sparks in their mind to kind of get them thinking on the right path. Non-linguistic skills, representation of information. That's a lot of, we live in an era now where it's just, we're constantly bombarded with images and different kinds of media all the time. So it's important to kind of, go to the realm and work in that kind of environment. Assigning appropriate homework, that's important too. Especially in physical education, we have to, not just think about what's going on in our classroom, but what happens outside of our classroom as well. And also help the students to apply what they've learned to their lives. To continue, it's about planning. We're trying to develop appropriate questions for our students, and also formative assessments. In a physical education setting, it's slightly different than other kinds of classrooms because we're constantly watching them do the activities that we're having them engaged in. So assessing them as they're engaged in activity and seeing how they progress is an important aspect. Instruction prompts to encourage their thinking and encourage their literacy as far as physical education. Giving different stories and anecdotes kind of brings it home and gives them an idea of how these things work in real life and working together to learn. In community building, developing a culture that values learning. Um, there's a good quote from this citation here where it's power with, not power over. So when you think about community, we have power with our community. We're not trying to develop power over our community. We're all in this together, like I said, and it's important to kind of view life that way and work together for the betterment of everyone. Continuing on, concept-based constructivism. Basic concepts and big ideas are used to create lessons. So we're looking at the big picture. Activities can be challenging. Activities should be challenging to their beliefs and viewpoints. Try and get those kids thinking. Teachers present real-world issues, and we also listen to and value our students' viewpoint. Because again, it's a collaborative learning environment. We should be trying to all work together. So why use high-impact instruction? Well, it's in the name. It's high impact, right? We're trying to utilize activities that will have the greatest impact on our students. And when would we use this? Well, anytime you want to have strong evidence-based instruction. There's not many times where I can think where you wouldn't want to use this. The one holdup is that it does take a lot of work to kind of make these things gel and kind of go together. So it's not something you necessarily use all the time, but there is a place for it in an everyday classroom. So quickly here we can go through a sample lesson that's based on personal boundaries. This lesson was from Kelly Gray. It was submitted through the Colorado Department of Education. It's an 8th grade health and physical education class. There's 26 students in the class, split evenly between gender, and these students had a wide range of health class experience, from not having a health class before at all the way up to just having really 1 or 2 classes before this point. And the quote here is about the description. The teacher modeled effective self-advocacy strategies so students could begin to advocate for setting and maintaining personal boundaries, e.g. around substance abuse, sexual decision-making. This lesson was designed with the intention that no matter the situation, we can apply the same resisting pressure skills to advocate for ourselves. And so this is a very real-world type of lesson. These are things that kids are going to, especially when they get to the 8th grade, if they haven't already, they're going to be on the cusp of, dealing with some of those hard kind of situations in their life where they're exposed to different things, whether it's in their household or amongst their friends, their friend group. And it's going to be important for them to kind of be an advocate for themselves and understand where their boundaries are at. So there's 6 aspects to this lesson. The first is creating relevancy and making connections. So in this lesson, 4 choices were displayed. Students moved to a corner based on their choice. Students discussed and defended with others at the corner why they made that choice. The idea is that we're trying to develop this idea of self-advocacy. Then after the students defended their choice, they went over the definition of self-advocacy with a partner and how it meshed up with their choice, and they discussed how the 4 corners activity related to self-advocacy. Think aloud in group discussion. After that, they split up into groups, went on a gallery walk. Each station in the gallery had a QR code, which they would use their phone, or I guess they could use their laptop as well. They would scan the QR code, and there was a little scenario that was viewable. Each student analyzed each problem and developed advocacy skills based on that issue. Skill-based practice in collaborative groups. Students informed small groups and developed a skit based on one of the scenarios. Groups then made sure that their skits contained self-advocacy components. For the hands-on activity, students then presented their skits to the whole class. Audience members then completed a feedback form, which helped to give some more feedback to the skits, the groups that were performing the skits. In reflection, those groups received those feedback forms. Groups reflected on the performance, asking themselves, what did we do well? Did your skit include multiple components of effective self-advocacy? And if not, what could you have done differently or do differently the next time? For checking for understanding, at the end of the lesson, the students wrote down 3 different ways that they learned to refuse peer pressure. And this is a good way to kind of see, what kind of gauge where your class is at in terms of, did they really get the take-home message here today? So thanks for listening. Hopefully these strategies will be effective in your classroom. And if you would like, you can check out the references here, and at the second reference, which is the Colorado Department of Education website, that reference also has some more scenarios based for high impact instructional strategies in physical education. So if you're interested in more lesson plans there, you can check that out. And thank you.